Uh, Hi, folks. My name's Barry Reynolds. Who are you, sir?
I'm Chaz Marler from Pair of Dice Paradise. It's good to finally get a chance to speak with you.
Yeah, we had some technical difficulties. New link and all, but we're up and running now. So what have you been playing lately?
Let's see. I have been playing. I have been playing a lot of Volt with my 7-year-old recently, last couple of days, and I actually had a game group yesterday, and we played a lot of small games like No Thanks and Bang the Dice Game, and just little things like that. And then I have a friend, old friend from high school, that we actually had this epic combination of just Star Trek fleet captains and kind of an RPG element to it. And we had this big storyline we did. And that was actually one of the best gaming experiences I've had in the last couple of months.
Oh, really? Yeah, I do have fleet captains. I haven't had time to get it to table completely yet. We played half a game or something like that. Time with me is an issue. I work at night. My wife works during the day. I share a half hour a day if I'm lucky. It could be good or bad. I don't know yet. But well, tell me a bit about yourself. How did the pair of dice get started?
Well, I actually, I actually started out maybe 3 years ago. I discovered the Dice Tower. I actually was looking for a review of some gaming accessories, some components made by a company called Litco. They make little plastic items. I was looking at some things for Twilight Imperium, and I stumbled onto a review by Tom for the Twilight Imperium components. It's like, oh, hey, neat! Someone reviews this stuff, and I've had board games forever, but so seeing the reviews and of course, with that is like, hey, that was a really neat review. Hey, another one. How many does this guy have? And then I just got sucked into it from there, discovering lots of new games I had no idea about. And then, after a year or so, kind of got that itch. It's like, I love to publish things. So I was like, I'd like to make some videos if I have anything to say. So I remember I was vacuuming my floor just one afternoon, and I thought, what would make a good domain name or a name of a blog or something. And I was vacuuming, and just the Pair of Dice Paradise kind of pun popped into my head. So I ran out and I went to get the domain, but it was taken. But it was expiring in like 3 days. So I reserved it, and those days slowly went by, and after those 3 days, it expired all the way, and I grabbed it, and then I sat on it for a year, not really sure what to do with it, until I got up the nerve to actually put everything together and sit down in front of the camera and start talking into it, and that was the first video for Pair of Dice Paradise that went out was a year ago. I think next week it'll be a year. So, and the rest, as they say, is a boring story. But
yeah, how did you feel about that first camera thing? It took me a long time to get comfortable with the camera.
I'll let you know when I get comfortable in front of the camera. I do know that my first couple of videos that I did, I went out there and I was going to review a lot of the games that I played with my daughter, who was 6 at the time, and because I had a lot of trouble finding videos and reviews for things geared towards kindergartners and other things. So that was kind of one of the first kind of segments I wanted to make, was games geared towards playing with your child. And so I thought, okay, I have a couple of games that we play all the time. We play these at least once a week. I'm going to sit down and just talk about them. I sat down in front of the camera and was just like, even worse than usual. So I decided to write up a script, and the first couple of them, I sat there. I remember the very first video I did. I printed out like 3 pages worth of script and sat there with it kind of off camera and would try to read the line and then look at it, kind of memorize another paragraph and read the line into the camera till I got it right. And it took me about 2.5 hours to film a 3-minute segment. And then I realized, okay, I needed a different approach, something else that will work for me. And what I did is I actually did a little bit of research, and I discovered how to build an actual teleprompter. You take just a picture frame and put it at a 45-degree angle, and you can have like an iPad or iPod or something that you can get an app for, teleprompter app, and you shine your words up onto the picture frame, and you put the camera behind it, and you can view the words going by like a teleprompter, and the camera, because of the 45-degree angle, doesn't see it. And when I built that, if you go back, like the 3rd video in that I did, it's just a night and day difference, at least it is to me, of just this relaxing and just a lot more of a rapport with the camera, because you can just kind of see what you're about to say and just flow with it. And then that helped tremendously at that point to get comfortable in front of the camera.
I never, well, I don't script anything. I tried a couple times. And everything's off my mind. But how did you get into the hobby?
I've been thinking about this with our interview coming up, trying to think back to when I really got into it. And, I realized this last week, thinking about it, that I've been surrounded by board games a lot throughout my life. I remember, I must have been in 1st or 2nd grade. I was trying to think what my first board game was, and I had this Pac-Man board game that had this little plastic yellow Pac-Man that would you'd have little white marbles along the board of the game, and he would go by and you'd press down. The little plastic Pac-Man had a hole in the bottom, and he'd go over the marbles and eat them while the ghosts were chasing you. And I had another game that I've been trying to find out what it was, but it was this blue plastic board that had these grooves, like little pads cut into it, like routed into it. And you had these little guys that had pegs on their feet, so they'd sit in these grooves. And there were other little white guys that would actually fit on them like they're riding piggyback. And you'd have these little plastic yellow rings that they would go through and collect. And I just remember blue board, these little piggyback guys going through these trails, collecting these little plastic yellow rings. I can't remember what the object of the game actually was or what it was called, but if anyone out there watching knows what this game is, let me know. It's driving me crazy. But so I had those growing up. So they were always kind of present and always kind of, some of the toys I always enjoyed playing with, even if it was all by myself most of the time. I'd still set them up and play, figure out, develop some other personality to play against. And that kind of just continued, and then off and on. In middle school, my stepfather introduced me to Risk. And that kind of blew my mind, that there was this game that could be so epic. Of course, to modern board gamers, I'm probably speaking sacrilege calling Risk epic, but come on, I was 12 at the time. So we would play Risk, my stepbrother, when he visited during the summer, and my stepfather and I would play Risk. We'd play these day-long games over the weekends, and it was one of the things, one of the family activities that actually brought the family together. So that made it really special to me, and I think those early games, playing those, and then the Risk experience, seeing how board games could actually bring these people together like that, when you weren't doing that, just watching TV or doing other stuff. But that, I think, made a big impact on me. And then ever since then, when it wasn't the summers and my stepbrother wasn't visiting and there weren't enough people to play it, I would just take it out, usually by myself, a couple times a month and figure out ways to play it by myself. And I had this whole set of different nationalities and different accents I would do, pretending I was everybody sitting around the table, and I came up with rules to make like supply chains and find ways to make Risk really overly complex and try to make like actual kind of looking back, it kind of combined the Civ video game Civilization series with Risk in a way to make all of these type of enhancements and resources we could find. But that's what I did a lot of the time, to spend the time growing up like that. And then ever since, I've always had board games, kind of getting them for pieces and other things to tinker with. And then again, about 3 years or so ago, when I discovered the Dice Tower, that was just an explosion of, oh my goodness, there's so much more out there than just Risk. Give me this one. Oh, and that one. Oh, and this one. And it's kind of just grown from there.
Yeah, it's similar. Well, not that earlier stuff, but within it was about 3 weeks, I found the Dice Tower, Watch It Played, and Board Game Geek. That was the end of it.
Yeah, within that close of a proximity of each other.
It's. I actually I usually get my wife like a party game every year for Christmas, and I was out looking for it, and I found Pandemic at, I think it was at Target, and I picked it up, and I was just looking for more stuff on it, some rule or something confused me. I forget what it was, and that's when it happened. It was Board Game Geek first, then Watch It Played, and then the Dice Tower, within like 2-3 weeks.
And your life was never the same.
No, it's not. It's more the better. It's for all my family. Like I said, I'd rather do this with them than watch that idiot box all day. I watch maybe 2 hours of TV a week, if that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like I said, my daughter's about to go into 2nd grade, and looking back at the difference between myself at her age and what my family was doing and what her and I and my wife do together, back then my family would be, well, tonight we watch ABC because it has all those shows on, and tomorrow we'll watch CBS, and now it's like, today we're going to play Survive, and today we're going to play Volt, and today we're going to watch me edit a video. So 2 out of 3 aren't bad.
Yeah, I just emailed Rodney about the editing. It was just like, I hate editing, and there's just hours and hours of it sometimes. But yeah, I was just talking to Rodney Smith about that in the email. How do you feel about editing?
About you cut out there. About what?
About editing.
Oh, it. I'd say the only thing worse than editing is the filming, but the only thing worse than the filming is the editing. But they're both they both have such good and bad parts. I actually enjoy the editing a little bit. Sometimes I'm in the mood to film, sometimes I'm in the mood to write, and sometimes I'm in the mood to edit. And I actually I self-published a comic book kind of regionally in the mid-'90s, and so I have that background of doing a lot of small panels of art and words together. A lot of times the editing brings a lot of that back, adding the little pop-ups or little things or splicing a scene together, where to cut it. And actually, that can be really enjoyable. Sometimes it can be a real burden. I found that filming and editing the instructional part of a video, here's how it plays, and now I'm going to crop the board and get the pieces, and I have to move this at this right moment, and I want to show how this card works. Showing the components of the game and instructional of how to actually play it, and then editing that is the hardest part for me by far. That's the part I dread sometimes.
Yeah, I found it the same way with me. I call it the component video. Yeah, I've actually kind of spliced it, because I would do a component video where I explain the game and show all the components and all that and set up, and then I do the game with my wife and then explain it all again. So I said, yeah, that's enough of that. That's just,
once is bad enough.
Yeah, but I think I've done a couple longer length games lately. Freedom, the Underground Railroad, and then I just finished up there one. I think that kind of burnt me out on editing. It's going to be a nice short game next, I think. How does VBug like doing your show there when she gets the chance to?
I was really cautious about bringing her into it because, the internet in general for one of them, but also because I didn't want to be like, hey, come do this thing and have her resent it and possibly resent games and stuff as a result of it. But I never. So I only ask her to come in if she wants to and do her part of the video, but it's really exciting because she has actually started to come to me. She actually has asked, when's the next time we're doing an episode with me in it? And so she's actually really been enthusiastic for it and enjoying it, which is great because it's one more aspect of the hobby that I'm able to bring her into and she enjoys. And she actually just this last weekend, she made her own game and wanted to film a demo of how to play it. And so I got out the camera, and she's like, "This is the first video with no you. Just it's going to be all me." And so I just sat back, and she did her whole explanation. And I don't know if it's going to make it onto the YouTube channel or not. It's kind of just a rough little thing, but again, seeing her enthusiasm for all aspects of the hobby and just being excited about doing this activity and games in general is just so rewarding. There's nothing better than that, seeing the look on her face.
Little diva grown there. Yeah, that's good. I know a lot of people who bring their kids and don't enjoy it quite a bit. I don't have kids myself, but I'm sure watching them grow through the channel will be interesting when she gets a little older.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that age when all of a sudden she's embarrassed by everything that's already up there. She hasn't hit it yet, but there's going to come a day where she's going to ask me politely, "Can we take those old videos down?" And I'm just going to keep playing them for her date and not even stop.
So I was watching your little segments on Board Game Breakfast about your how did you put it? Cheapest Meeples segment. Why don't you explain that a little bit
more? Okay. Well, I've always kind of anything that's kind of big and heavy, as you can probably tell, kind of had a little bit of anxiousness talking about, and including social situations. I was one of those kids that never went to the dances in high school or anything, just because I thought no one cares. I'll just sit here. No one wants me to be there, and it's so. When the thing that really spurred the idea for the Meeples for Sheepish Peoples series that's going on the Board Game Breakfast, the thing that really spurred it was that Gen Con just came and went, and some fellow board game content media producers who I kind of consider my peers, I was watching them vicariously get together and plan things and do special events. And I realized, I started to fall back in that old familiar feeling of, I'll just sit on the sidelines and watch them because, I'll just screw it up or something will happen like that. And it hit me that I was falling back in that same circle, and it hit me that the only thing stopping me from being involved in it was me. The only reason that I wasn't there is because I didn't plan ahead. I didn't reserve a ticket. I didn't reserve a hotel room. I didn't save up and get airfare to go out there. And if I had pushed myself to do those things, I would have been there, probably having a really great time with all of these people who I really respect and enjoy their company. And so when that hit me, I was like, man, I did it again. I go to local board game groups, and I stand on the wall sometimes just because your confidence comes and goes. And I thought, hey, maybe that's something that I should talk about on this series, because I can't be the only person who has had these ups and downs and goes through these cycles. And so it was just one of those moments of light bulb, of course. And I think we've done 2 or 3 of those segments. I think the second one just actually went up this morning, second or third. Anyway, one of the first few just went up this morning, and so far the response that the YouTube commenters and people emailing me, the response to them has just been amazing. There's a lot more people in that boat than I thought there was, and the people saying, hey, that's actually already started to help me. It's just been amazing to see that. It's been really rewarding, and if nothing else comes of the Paradise YouTube channel or anything, being able to make that one series and reach those people and maybe help more people feel comfortable doing the hobby they love, that alone will make everything I've done up to this point worth it.
That's good. Yeah, like I was saying through the email, I have a bit of issue with social. I don't like crowds. Never did. And it takes a lot of warm up to people sometimes. And like I said, I'm sure there's a lot more people out there that are affected some way by it. But that's kind of why I like this hobby, and it's why I do the YouTube channel and all that. It's the interaction with other people through the internet and all that. I actually was supposed to go to Gen Con, and work screwed me like a week before and denied a couple of days off, so I couldn't make it. Kind of pissed me off. But I was looking forward to meeting like a couple of the guys out there, Spoonie Meeples and Hunter and all them. And it just didn't work out. But looking at Joel Eddy, who was a machine doing that thing, all the filming he did, looking at those videos, I don't know if I could tolerate all them people. There was like 60,000 or 56,000, something like that.
Yeah, it was really close to 60,000, and yet that is a lot of people in one place. But
yeah, it is. Like I went to Origins for a day, and that was okay. It didn't seem like I'm sure there was a lot of people there, but it didn't seem like it. Everybody was gaming and having their own, fun and all that. But just looking at some of the video from Gen Con, it's like cattle going through the chute.
It is. Is the focus of Origins more on a more subdued playing atmosphere with more focus on actual playing, or is it more of the carnival atmosphere like Gen Con?
Well, I only went to Origins the one time, and there was like a dealer hall and then another hall where you would actually play. There was a few dealers in there. There was Woods Kids and then a couple others, but not in like the dealer hall. And most of the time, people were either in the dealer's hall shopping or they were in this other room playing games, So I feel it's more just going out there and playing them. And there are some dealers there to sell games, That was my impression of it. And like I said, I met Tom Vassell there briefly, and I was talking to him, and he said, I went on Friday. And he said, you should be glad you came here today because tomorrow will be a madhouse. And I'll go for the weekend. And he is quite tall, Tom Vassell.
That's what I keep hearing, especially the pictures that people post that kind of float by on Twitter or Facebook. Every single one has the caption, and he's so tall.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. It was Alex Eden, he's a tall guy. I was expecting Isaac to be taller than he was. He's really not. But then it was like Tom Vassell and Eric Sumner standing next to each other, and Tom had a good foot on Eric. So where was it going? Oh yeah. Anyway, yeah. Origins felt a lot more laid back. I was talking to a couple other people. I don't like to drop names like this, but I go to beer mongers with the Secret Balls, Jamie and Chris. I was talking to Jamie about it, and he was telling me he liked both Origins and Gen Con for different reasons. He likes Origins because it is a relaxed atmosphere where you just go play and hang out with your buddies, and Gen Con is just a spectacle. Although I haven't seen him about that, I'll see him tomorrow, and I'll talk to him about this year's Gen Con, see if it changes his mind any. But like last year, he was saying at Gen Con he was having a hard time finding space to play games. I'm sure it ended up the same way this year. So yeah, like I said, I'm somewhat affected by not I don't think to your extent, but I don't like crowds, and it takes me a while to warm up to people.
Yeah. I can understand with taking a long time to warm up. I've done a couple other little get-togethers and stuff online and kind of interviews and stuff. And usually, just about the time that it's like we have 5 minutes left, I'm warmed up and I'm ready to go. And it's like, okay, we're out of time. And the game days and stuff that is the same way. It's like the last game of the evening. I'm there and I'm into it, and just the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah, it's. I started going to beer mongers, like I said. There's a place around me that it was a bunch of Goskets go, and I just didn't like the atmosphere. It's the weird senses of humor and stuff. But I drive about an hour and 15 minutes up in the Dalles down there to go play with beer mongers, and them guys are real warming and welcoming. They're really cool guys. But like I said, I guess it depends on where you're going to. Like, I can go 5 minutes around the corner, and it's just weird atmosphere for me. And it's odd because I'm not, I work in a place that we say leave your feelings at the door. I've been called every name in the book you can think of. But that just something about that place just bothered me. But, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say, you got to find that environment that gels, with you, and you can't force it. It's just you find that comfort zone with the group of people in a certain place, and you know it when you find it.
Yeah. So how did you get started with the Dice Tower?
Oh, well, it's a riveting story. I was watching Board Game Breakfast, and Tom said, I'm looking for more contributors. Contact me. And here's the twist. I did. And after I contacted him, and I actually had emailed about some other little thing like a year or so ago. So I was like, hey, do you remember me? I'm that guy from that thing I emailed you about a year ago. I'd love to contribute. I'm sure he had no idea who I was. But, how Tom is, he was like, yeah, sure, bring me your stuff. He actually said, I've seen Pair of Dice Paradise, and that was like, really? Oh. And so then he put me right on the show, and that's all there was to it, really. But it's been, I think I've done 22 episodes now, so that's 22 weeks. So that's about 6 months that I've been doing the weekly segments for the Board Game Breakfast, and it was just because he asked. So.
Yes, it's cool. Yeah, I know. I forget what I was going to say now. Sorry, like I said, I'm in a good bit of being tonight and concentration still. Yeah, forget. Anyway, could have been that important. Anyway, so I forgot again already. Hold on.
See, I don't mind at all because I'm pretty sure I'm winning the interview. So.
Yes, you are, but I'm still not sure if you're a robot or not. So you want to cheat. So tell me the fundraiser. That's where I was going. Tell me about your fundraiser that you're playing in one for your second season.
I'm glad you asked. I'm not really sure what you want me to say about it. Well, September, on or around September 1st, Indiegogo fundraiser campaign is going to launch for the Pair of Dice Paradise second season, and talking about the social anxiety and stuff. A lot of a lot of being having a video and having a YouTube channel and broadcasting out to the world. I try to keep things genuine. So like Tom Bassel says, he hopes that the person you see on your screen would be the same person you meet in real life. Maybe amplified or exaggerated a little bit, but and I really appreciate that approach, and I agree with that. So I might play up certain things and stuff and kind of be a character a little bit, but now I don't know where I was going with that. So now it's my turn. But so with the fundraiser, anytime you develop something like that, the response to that's where I was going with it. Creating this type of personality and everything, it really can be a real confidence game. There's days where you feel like you could just nail something out of the park, have an interview, do a podcast, film something, and you're on. And there's other days where you just don't feel it, but you push yourself to do it, and 99% of the time you're glad that you did. And for the first year of the podcast, that was really my goal, to push myself not just in the good times, but see if I actually had something to say when I wasn't in the mood to say anything. It's like I know I discovered I have something to say. Am I serious enough about doing this to do it when I'm also not in the mood to do it? Because I know in the long run I'll be glad I did. And trying to find my voice, create a consistent schedule like that is what the focus of the first year was. And so kind of accomplished that, and the feedback so far from the series has just been incredibly positive. Speaking of a confidence game, there's a gajillion other reviewers out there, and everybody that's out there, most everybody has a real talent. No matter what approach they take, there's so much talent out there. So part of me is like, why even bother doing a fundraiser? And kind of going back to that self-sabotage in a way. But the part of me is like, okay, well, this is something I enjoy doing. I've found my voice. I know I have something to say. I know I want to say it through the good times and the bad times when it's easy and hard. And so I figured, okay, if I want to keep going with this and take it to the next level, and make things, even the release schedule more consistent, I got, for every video that I actually release, there's about 3 more that I've started working on that just time hasn't allowed me to finish. So there's this backlog of more content to put out. So I figure if I'm serious about this and people find value in what I'm doing here, then I might as well go for it, and have a fundraiser to help fund the second season, which is going to start in September, with the goal of the fundraiser being to raise enough funds to offset other income so that I can start doing this actually as a part-time, at least part-time or full-time, but at least a part-time actual occupation, phase out of other things in life and phase into this more. And really the fundraiser is going to be the proof in the pudding to see if that's a viable avenue to go down. But like I said, it's one of those things where you've come this far and you've pushed yourself this far, just like Gen Con, the only thing that would be stopping me from trying the fundraiser for the second season is just the self-doubt and not doing the motions to do it. So I'm doing it, and that's what it's all about.
No, I wish you luck with that. Like I said, I enjoy your channel. I think you got a very different outlook on the hobby.
There was for any media producer or publisher or anything, I heard once some really interesting advice that I took to heart, and they said, in order to be successful, they said that you have to be either first or the best or different. And I'm never going to be first or have the most content. I'm never going to be the best because no matter what I make, the next guy that I see, there's always someone's like, oh man, he did that so well. He's so good. Look at that guy. You're always going to have someone that you consider, setting the bar a lot higher. So the only thing left really is to be different, find your own unique voice, and just run with that. And so I hope that comes across, and I hope it comes across. Okay. I hope it comes across intelligibly.
No, it does. I'm just kidding. But I find it very humorous and just your whole outlook on it very, very entertaining and interesting. Like this, the sheepish people thing and stuff like that. I did a segment a while ago where I would ask people questions. I kind of still do now because I'm interested in other people's reactions, their experiences, and what I did in the hobby. Because I'm new to this, 2 years, I think, year and a half, something like that. Like I said, pandemic. It was when my mother died in 12. Yeah, so 13, and 12, 13 when I got into it. Like I said, you have a different outlook on it than most of the other guys out there, which is good. Not saying it's bad.
Let me tell you what your problem is, Chaz.
No, I'm glad. Like I said, most people will give you encouragement doing this. I've got many emails and comments, and they get hung up on weird things like the ring in my hand. For some reason, they don't understand why I'm married and I don't wear a ring. And it's like
the one thing they pick up on. You'll pour 8 hours into a video and hey, I noticed you weren't wearing a ring. Thanks.
Yeah, I should explain that one. I could get killed with it. I work around 600 volts of electricity. I used to take it on and off, but eventually I just lost it. So I don't have it anymore. That's why I don't wear it. But yeah, that's probably all the mess ups I did and some of the stuff I did, and that's what I get a lot of emails about is that ring.
Well, I guess it could be worse. Yeah, for all the things people could nitpick at, content and quality and length and everything. No, your choice of whether or not you have the ring on, whether it's your choice or not. If that's what they choose, then if that's the worst thing that happens to you that day, it's a good day.
Yeah, it does. Well, I take it all with a grain of salt. I know there's always going to be, haters and stuff like that out there, but most people are positive. In their responses to this channel, but like I said, it's just odd to me. So, I'm in the same boat as you. You were saying you have a couple things in the backlog, just no time to do it. I understand why you do your fundraiser and try, custom other stuff out. I was actually discussing that with somebody today. I don't think people realize how much time goes into these videos on the channel, the YouTube channels. Especially like I see the guys do like Arkham Horror and all that. I think they're nuts. Filming something like that. Just the editing involved. I think they're nuts.
Yeah. The editing. I mean, I find, I don't know about you. We should compare notes here. I find that I probably average 1.5 to 2.5 hours per minute of final video on one that goes well. Some of the segments for Board Game Breakfast that are a little less technically advanced, those go faster. Those might be more like an hour and a half. But some of the longer episodes, they could easily be 2.5 hours per minute of final production. How does that compare to your ratio?
With me, I don't know since I cut out that part of the component video, but it was about 10 hours for every half hour, I think it was, on the channel. Or maybe it was an hour. Nah, 10 hours for every half hour. Roughly, but I'm including like preparing the game, playing, getting the rules down. I read through the rules beforehand, go on Board Game Geek, go through all the role forums and all that, and then practice game to make sure I got it down and stuff like that. Well, I do that now. The channel's constantly in flux. It's constantly changing. Stuff's always getting added and taken out.
Oh yeah. When I started, the segments and the topics that I do now have morphed just within the last year. So I know what you mean about how you start out, and then as time goes by, you slowly realize, oh hey, I'm actually going in this other direction than I thought I would, and it's just strange to see it evolve over time. Yeah,
well, it is, but like I'm doing it now like how I originally intended it to do. Originally, this was just I'm learning these board games. I was going to set it up while people watch this in the family. I was going to show how to play, and then it just went. Well, somebody talked me into putting it in the YouTube. I forget what it was, and then it's like, well, then I got to explain the rules more, in more detail and set up and all that. So it just evolved into this monster, and slowly I've been whacking it apart to how when the person finally convinced me to put it up on YouTube, it was just going to be me running through the game explaining as I went along, and that's pretty close to what it is now. There's a lot more graphics and effects and all that, but it's pretty close to that now. I did a couple steps backwards from the original. Again, because of time. It's.
Oh yeah.
I did Eldritch Horror. It took me 40 hours. From start to finish on that.
I don't doubt it. Yeah, that game, that media, I could see how it could take. Wow. So was that 40 hours? Was that like doled out over like 3-4 weeks then, little bits at a time, or were you able to like have a weekend that you sat down and just powered through it?
No, that was over a good 2 weeks. But I actually filmed the game three times. I had audio issues the first time. The second time, the game ended in 3 rounds.
Oh, great!
Yeah. The third time is what you see. The mics and all that. I've had problems with mics. I still am. I have a Bluetooth, sort of like what Vassal has for the Canon. That's my camcorder, Canon. And it works fine when it's on me, but when there's more than one person, I don't like how that's going yet. I'm still trying to figure out how to do stuff with Jen because she likes to fidget and bang the table, and then the hammers bounce. So I'm still. I used to do it by myself because A was time, and then B was just she wasn't as involved in it as I am. But for the last 4 or 5 videos, something like that, she's been a part of it. And she's always been there behind the scenes, but she's actually somewhat on camera. During that final thoughts and all that, you'll see Mike Wazowski standing in because she doesn't want to be on camera. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's neat then that she's slowly kind of increasing her comfort zone and getting more and more involved in it. Then.
Yeah. It's like last week's. I do this segment called On Board Games where. When I was interviewing Hunter, he brought up people may not know what a gateway gamer is, and then I thought about it. I'm like, you're right. So I've been doing this segment called On Board Games where I would, define a term in board gaming, co-ops or whatever, and then there would be a discussion about something related to board games after that. And the last one, Jen actually asked to do, the last discussion. So she is getting more into it. I just put up a video as a joke. She calls me a game snob. I don't really do the mass-produced games anymore. So she's not home. She's been down at my shore place for a couple of days, and her and her mother were down there playing Sorry, and she filmed that, something with that, saying, this is a gateway gamer explaining Sorry. And she sent it to my iPhone, and then I said, all right, you want to be a smart ass, I will do it. I put it up on YouTube, and it's there now.
Two can play at this game.
So yeah, she is getting more involved in it. Yeah. At first it was tough because there's so much time involved in it. She came to me at one point. I was doing a video every week, and she came to me and she's like, "You're putting so much time in this, you're not actually playing the games anymore." And then that's when I cut back. I'm like, "Yeah, you're right." I cut back to a video every 2 weeks, and now it's just when they're ready, they're ready. It's, it's kind of weird because I feel like I have to put something out every week, and then sometimes I get ticked off at myself because it's not what I wanted. It's not as good as I wanted it to be.
Oh yeah. There's every creative person that I've ever talked to is that way. Especially back like doing more the illustration stuff, kind of in my history. Yeah, every creative person, you will work for hours on something, and you will love it for about 5 minutes. And then you just pick it apart and you can't stand it anymore. Every video that I produce, I'll get it done and I'll share it with my wife and VBug, and I kind of have my grand reveal of it to them, and they'll be watching it going, "Hey, this is neat," and I'm just behind them going, "Oh no, that part's wrong. Oh, I can't stand this part." And it just comes with the territory, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure it does with everybody. Yeah, but like I said, it's been an interesting ride there. Because we were discussing the subscribers and all that, and Jen's like, it's kind of slow. Like, I really don't watch that. I don't. I send everybody a thank you message when they do subscribe to my channel, but other than that, I really don't pay attention to the numbers. And it's like, this is an extension to the hobby for me. It is basically what it comes down to. I'll do it until either I can't because of other obligations, or it's just not fun anymore. Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. I struggled after I got the domain name. I sat there for a year thinking, do I have anything to say? And then it, finally it's like, okay, yeah, I think I have something to say. And then it just came out like a waterfall. But when I hit that point where it's like, yeah, I have nothing more to say on the subject, or no more games to play, or something, then there's no point in trying to push it forward just for its own sake. It's if you hit that point, you hit that point.
Yeah, and I've heard other media creators say the same thing. Even some of the bigger guys, the real big guys. And I think that's pretty much how it should be. People don't overstay their welcome.
Yeah.
So, where was I going?
We got all introspective here.
Yeah. My mind just goes all over the place anymore. Especially, like I said, my back's all screwed up. It's just causing a pain in the ass. I got the attention span of a fruit fly some days.
I actually have had a history of some back issues too. I won't go into details about them, but I do know that when it's acting up and it's bothering you, it makes your temper short and your attention span. You just can't focus on anything. When it is always there, it'll take your mind out of anything you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So I feel for you there.
Thanks. Yeah, it's actually getting so bad, man. I'm going to make some serious life decisions soon with it, and I'm not looking forward to that. But it is what it is. So let's get back on the lighter note. Well, what do you got planned for the future of Pair of Paradise?
Next video tutorial on pronouncing the name of the series. Well, there's the fundraiser is going to be in September. That's probably going to be a large focus. I actually have been really fortunate. Some friends of the show actually are also contributing some short 1 to 2 minute cameos and stuff. So I'm kind of herding all of those together and trying to make as nice a presentation with it as possible. But then I've been fortunate enough that just within the last couple of months, a few publishers, of various sizes, small, medium, large, have actually contacted me, and which is just kind of like strange, but actually have been contacted saying, hey, would you like us to send you some review copies of these materials and these games and stuff? And of course it's like, yeah, I would love to talk about these. That's great, bring them on. I just hope I have more time, to do them all justice. But so some of these games that are coming in through September and October, those will be coming up, which will be really kind of nice. It's nice to, you always kind of have to balance, the hotness with other meaty older titles and things. So I'll try to keep a mix of them. Oh, and just this afternoon on my lunch break, I went to a local thrift store, and I found I found 3 new games for short little thrift sift episodes, where I find something kind of strange at a thrift store and find something to talk about. I actually was gonna bring one and have it next to me, but I forgot. But I found something like a Jack Daniel's official old-timey poker chips. It's like, branded like from the 1800s in this this plastic box that looks wooden. It's like, oh wow, Jack Daniel's old-timey poker chips. These must be like made out of wood or burned in or stuff. Open it up and they're plastic, the cheapest plastic known to man. But because carbonite plastic technology did hit its peak in the 1800s, so I'm really excited about sharing those. But so there's those and a few other. And again, I have the pile of the other things that are in various states of development for a while. But that's kind of some of the short-term things I hope to get out between now and the end of the year.
Yeah, I look forward to it. I do like your segments, especially the thematic mechanic and all that. I enjoy them. The component mechanic. I forget. My memory's bad. I forget what it is. One way to talk about jazzing up a game.
The component proponent.
That's it.
The thematic mechanic. I like that. I wish I had thought of that instead of you. I like the ring of that.
It's all yours. And the thrift store, when I was watching that one on the LA court system game, whatever, I can't remember. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, that one. Wow, that one was a monster in every possible way, that was one I really tried to script out because it was just such an amazing game, a thing of art. But the script for that one, I would write and then put aside for a while and then bring back out. And I worked on the script for that one for probably about 2 months, actually. I wrote up a whole draft, threw it away, and then kind of got inspired and kind of worked on it in little bits. And I really wanted it to be polished, so I'd put it away for a week and bring it back out and revise. But that one really just came together, and that's one of my favorites that we've produced. Oddly enough, though, speaking of thrift stores and that you be the judge game, maybe I shouldn't say it by name on recorded video, but I found another game dealing with the court system that makes that first game look like I don't know, Kemet or Twilight Imperium. It makes the first one look like the best game ever made. So I'm actually almost scared to do a video about this new one I found because I'm afraid that it might cause time and space to unravel because it's just so bizarre. But that's another one. If I can get up the nerve to do it, I hope to present that one too, because that's another one where almost just I could sit there and read the rules to it, and that would be enough enough of a challenge to get through.
Yeah, I don't believe you found another game. But anyway, like I said, I do enjoy your channel. I actually pretty bad. I watch a lot of the YouTube content makers. Listen to podcasts. I drive an hour to work a day.
Oh yeah. I've started listening to them driving. I think you have a much longer drive than I do, but I've listened to them. You mentioned at the beginning of the interview, the idiot box and getting that away, and yeah, I agree. When we moved to the house we're at now, cable doesn't reach out here, so we don't have cable, but fortunately we have high-speed internet. And with the podcasts and the YouTube channels, just for board games and everything that I like to watch. I have more to watch now than was ever interesting on TV, and there's actually too much now to try and keep up with. But there's so many just amazing content producers out there, so many good series out there that I want to keep up with all of them and see what they're all doing, and not only just to watch them because they're engaging, but just to kind of see what other people's takes on things are. And it's just an amazing hobby that we can have these objects, these rules and bits of plastic and cardboard that so many people can get different inspirations from. It's just, and then of course the being able to play them with other people and have that social activity. It's amazing. It's a really neat pastime. So,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I kind of rambled off there. I'm sorry.
It's fine. Me and Jen digress all the time. You should watch one of the Final Thought videos. Last one, she was talking about my pants. We go off on some loops there. But like I said, editing, I got sick of editing, so it's just whatever's there is there.
We're gonna do one take.
I usually do edit it. I'll zoom in on her standing and stuff. I didn't even do it with this one, but the only thing I'm really conscious about is what you see on the video is me, with the exception of my language. I curse like a sailor driving a big rig. I've made a conscious decision not to do that on the channel in case a kid watches it or something. But every so often, you'll hear the volume either drop real low all of a sudden, or you'll see a weird edit in there. And my wife is as bad as I am. She's not as public with it as I am. So,
she's more sneaky with it.
But, like I said, we talk about all sorts of stuff on these videos. And like I said before, I cut a lot of it out. Now I don't care.
Well, it matches the more laid-back style. You know what? Here's what we're going to talk about. Here you go. And oh, hey, look, we talked about that for a while. Yeah, we did. That's good.
The winner. She went on about the shiny box for a while. That's the only thing out of the Final Thoughts I cut out. And she mentioned it 3 or 4 times after that, but in the beginning, it's like, like I said, it's an interesting hobby. And like you were saying, it's interesting how so many people, they could do the same game, and there's just so many different outlooks on it and stuff like that.
There really is. It's my game group I was at yesterday. We had enough people there that we had several different games going, and it's just neat that you'll see one person, one group playing a game, and they'll get done, and the other people are like, oh, I wanted to try that one, and they'll start playing it, and they'll take a completely different approach, different strategies, with it, and just seeing how everybody's mind works. It's fascinating to see the differences.
Yes, it is. It is. It's funny to watch a 10-year-old beat his 36-year-old father on TV, or stuff like that. I think that person knows what I'm talking about. But I digress. Anyway, so I don't want to keep you long. I know we've been doing this about an hour or so. Is there anything you want to discuss?
Were there any? I know we kind of got messed up from the technical difficulties with the original meetup not starting, and you had to recreate it. So I don't know if any questions or anything came in. I know you mentioned that as a possibility of seeing if anyone had any Q&A. So that was the only other thing I was thinking of.
Wait, I forgot to turn the app on the new Hangout. Okay, let's just say when I go for an interview, then I really being scary and my hand shaking. Please tell me what can I do. And it's from Naven, genuine.
So, oh, must be in reference to the meeples for sheepish peoples. So, talking about being nervous at an interview like that?
Yes, that's what it is.
Oh, you know what? Well, first of all, again, as I mentioned in this series, I'm not making any claims to be an expert on the subject of social anxiety or anything, and never think that I'm offering medical advice or anything like that. All I have is my own experiences. I do know that when it comes to giving an interview, I've had the opportunity in the last 10 years or so to flip that around and be the person who's giving the interview to the potential candidate. And at first, I was like, okay, I'm in the driver's seat. This is going to rock. I am going to be able to just make this person sweat. I discovered, at least for myself, that being the one giving the interview is even more nerve-wracking than having the interview. I would actually rather be interviewed than give an interview, probably at least for an employment scenario, any day of the week. And so, realizing that that the other person is probably just as nervous or more nervous than you are, sometimes that realization can help take the edge off. I've actually been a long time ago when I was having a job interview, being interviewed. I was going through the interview, answering the questions, and I was kind of having I was trying to break the ice. And about midway through the interview, I just told the guy, hey, I just want to let you know I'm incredibly nervous right now, but I want to tell you that I can do this, and here's my credentials. And he was like, I'm nervous too. And boom, right there, the rest of the interview was great. And I actually ended up getting that job, now that I think about it, which is cool. And anyway, so that realization is sometimes just confronting it can really go a long way to taking the edge off. So maybe that helps. And also, when you're nervous like that, I know that like going back to Gen Con and other things, just doing it sometimes is enough to propel yourself forward, and then when you're done, you're like, I did it. I did this thing, and it gives you the confidence for the next little hurdle that comes up. So I'll step down off my soapbox now, but hopefully that helps someone.
Yeah, still like advice. Unfortunately, I never really had interviews, so I can't really help you out. Every job I've had is, I'm in the trade fields, I was contracted before this, electromagnetic mechanics, so never really had an interview. Everything I was more like a conversation. Can you do this? Yeah. Okay.
You're very lucky to be, okay, yeah, you can do this? Oh, that's great. Okay, let's do it. So that would be nice.
Yeah. But I know my brother, he did all sorts of stuff for the State Department, stuff like that, and he was telling me there's constant interviews and hiring people and stuff like that. He was telling me pretty much the same thing. Sometimes he gets nervous. In the beginning, not so much later on. He did 100 of them, but it's the same thing.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Sorted through all the candidates and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sounds like a good advice. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to agree. Sorry.
That looks like. Let me check the YouTube channel since I switched from there. Yeah, like Chaz said, we had a little bit of technical difficulties with the Google at first, so we had to switch. Links.
Yeah, when you made the new one and you sent me the link to it, it responded immediately. The first one must have just died or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I blame me. So there's that.
Okay, I'll blame you. No, it's just every so often it does it. This is the second time actually since I've been doing it.
I see how it is. Okay.
Just most of them go off without a hitch, like I said. There's some stuff with Ignacy the last time, but that was his software. He had problems with his microphone. It's always something technical.
Yeah. Well, you think about everything that has to be working in order for us to be doing this. It's amazing it works at all.
Yes, it is. It's it is. I was just talking to somebody at work about that the other day. It's like just the leap. I'm 36, and just the leaps technology has made since I was in my teens. You know, it's unreal, and I can imagine where it's going to go from here.
Yeah. When my daughter is as an adult, I'm just imagining that she's going to have, some sort of holographic stuff, little holograms and everything like that. Maybe some little portable time machine or something. It's just scary where stuff's going.
Yeah, it is. It kind of scares me, especially with the social aspects of it.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, I started this after my mother died. Part of it was because I wanted to keep an eye on my sister and bring my family closer. Because we would go down the shore and they'd sit there on the iPhones, play this game on the iPhones with each other, sitting across from each other. Not talking to each other.
When my wife and I got our first house when we were first married, it was a 2-story house. It was like, wow, neat, 2-story house, this is great. We lived for 5 years when we were first married, we lived in an apartment that was 316 square feet. And we lived there for 5 years. So when we got our first house, it was 2-story, we just went nuts. It's like we had this we didn't have VBug or anything yet. So she had this room upstairs that she turned into her little reading room, and I had a home office downstairs. And we'd be at home sending Yahoo Instant Messenger messages to each other upstairs and downstairs. Until one day we realized, why don't we move the computers into the same room together so we can at least talk face to face? So I've been there. I know what you mean about being right next to each other and you're communicating through your device.
Yeah, but like I said, I see these teens, this new generation come up. They do it a ton more than I ever thought I would. Like Jen will text me from the Federal at times, but like her niece was telling me she did something like 35,000 in texts a month, and I'm like, how is that possible?
Wow, yeah, that's like more than some books,
It's Jen laughs at me though, like 90% of my answers are K. Sometimes 5% L because my hands are big and I hit the wrong K. I tell her, you want to talk to me, call me, or come in the other room. But yeah, that does scare me with the technology a little bit. Just people don't interact like they used to. I mean, I grew up in Philly, and there was if you looked at somebody the wrong way, you could get shot in certain neighborhoods up there. But people just don't interact anymore. It's kind of weird, yeah. And that's why I like the hobby so much. It's very social.
Yeah, it's one of the few things that is really people-centric, and you're sitting around working with something together that's tangible, and it seems like there's fewer and fewer of those things as time goes by. But then again, maybe I'm just getting old and cranky, so.
Yeah.
That's always an option.
Yeah. All right, so like I said, I don't want to keep it too long. I don't know. It's 11:30 here. We're 3 hours, 8:30. So if you were talking to somebody just getting into the hobby, what advice would you give them?
Getting into the hobby of board games or getting into the hobby of like video production?
Either one, your choice.
Oh, woo, okay. Well, if it's someone just getting into the hobby, my advice would be, if I disappear, it's because my laptop battery died. If it's someone just getting into the hobby of board games, my advice would be to go out there, go to a game store, and see what's out there, because there's games out there now for every taste. At the beginning of the interview, I mentioned how Risk blew my mind because it was the first board game that wasn't based on a video game or the Monopoly, sorry, type of Clue type of stuff. But so that there's stuff out there now for every taste, and go out there and see what there is. Talk to people. Go to a friendly local game shop and and talk to them, get some advice, and dabble, see what's out there. Because I'm shocked at the themes and the mechanisms, mechanics, the themes, and everything that's out there. It's just there's a game to scratch every conceivable itch. So there's that. And then if I was to keep talking and mention advice for people who are content media creators, I'd go with the old standby you hear a lot, but it's true, is to do it, to start, to produce things. I'd go to comic book, going back once more to the comic book stuff, I'd go to these comic book conventions, and I was publishing a bi-monthly little black and white 32-page comic book. And I did that for 5 years or so. And so you'd go to these conventions and you'd have your latest issue, and there was always someone else there that had their portfolio with them that was just full of these amazing pictures. They could just draw like this artwork. It was just amazing what they could draw. And you'd look at them and you'd instantly get jealous. It's like, okay, this guy's awesome. Darn. And then the next convention, you would never see him again. Because they could draw a pretty picture, but they didn't produce any work. And the videos and stuff, it's the same way. You can talk all day long about what you're going to do, but I'm a big believer in don't tell me, show me, do it. And there's another thing that drawing comics again. They say every comic book artist has 10,000 crappy pages in them. And the only way to get better is to draw those 10,000 crappy pages. Once you get those out of the way, number 10,001, you're going to start liking what you're doing. Videos, same way. You got 10,000 hours of crappy video in you. I look back and everything is still cringeworthy. I haven't hit that 10,000 hours yet, but you will get better, and the only way you're going to get better is to get those hours out and get them completed. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Woohoo! Yeah. Now I definitely won the interview.
Yeah, robot. Yeah. Kidding. I don't know where that came from this morning.
I thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I got very dark dry sense of humor. Sometimes really dark, but it's my Irish. Yeah, like, my regret's not joining a gaming group earlier. Because every game you see back there is something I bought and tried to blind, other than the reviews and all that.
Wow.
And even though there's guys out there who try to, get the feel of a game on video, it's not always successful. Even if they're great people. Like Roddy Smith, I consider him one of the best media creators out there, and just watching him, sometimes you don't get the feel for the game. You get an understanding of it, but not a feel for it.
Yeah.
But it's one thing I regret not doing this sooner. Yeah. But
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you always look back. It's like, man, if I had started, a year before, I'd have all that more knowledge and content and everything under my belt. And yeah, but you started, and you're doing it, and whether it's this year or no matter how recent it was, starting is what's important. So that's the way to do it.
Yeah. All right. So like I said, I don't want to keep it too long. I know you got nobody bugging on that. It's getting late over there. I'm up all night, so this is like 10 o'clock.
Well, that's part of the social anxiety is not knowing how to end a conversation. So maybe if my laptop battery dies, it's just for the best.
Yeah.
But thank you for taking the time to set this up and talk to me. It's been a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed getting to know you better and talking to you.
Thanks for coming on. Look, we talked back and forth sometimes on Twitter. That's how a lot of these come through. But yeah, it is good to see people face to face, talking face to face. But yeah, like I said, thanks for doing it. I will post the link on Twitter again. This is done and it goes to YouTube and all that. So, like I said, we had to switch the links. So a lot of people may not have actually watched it. I think we had like 4 or 5 viewers off and on. I'm a small channel to begin with. Yeah. But later on, people will watch it.
Yeah, it gets posted. Oh yeah, you have on your YouTube channel. You have all the past interviews, so I'm sure this will join the list probably, and so it'll be floating around out there for people.
Yeah, it'll go on probably about 20 minutes.
Oh.
That's usually about how long it takes to render it and all that.
Okay.
The one with Isaac was a little longer because that was a little longer of an interview. Like we stalled them until Alex came on. Alex Eden came on. We did something on the end of that. But yeah, usually it's about 20-25 minutes.
Cool.
And then I'll go over and watch it again. Like everything else, I'm constantly trying to learn from it. So I'll watch it, see what mistakes and all that.
That's the way to do it.
Better. But
yeah.
Like I said, thanks again, Chaz.
Yeah, and thank you. And yeah, I'll see you around the interwebs.
Yes. All right, take care.
Take care.